Story that Queen City News first brought you on Tuesday. A family now is filing a lawsuit claiming a 22-year-old man died after he could not afford the dramatic price increase of his asthma inhaler. Cole Smigneck now was on a steroid inhaler that usually cost him $60, but then a year ago his pharmacy in Wisconsin told him it will cost $500 because of his insurance no longer covered it. Well, his family says that the pharmacist did not offer an alternative, so Cole left without the medicine. Well, 5 days later, he suffered a severe asthma attack, and that led to cardiac arrest and his death. Cole's family is now suing Walgreens and Optum Rx for negligence and wrongful death. Let's bring in Chief Legal Analyst Clive Rhodes to this conversation because I know this is very hard to talk about. This is a very sensitive, a very emotional case when you think about a 22-year-old who died because he could not afford his medicine. My question, though, for you is here is the suit claims that the state law requires patients be given 30 days notice when their prescription coverage changes. So right now, do you think the family has a case?
Well, their claim is against a number of folks. And so I can say this, when the producer talked about doing this story, I know she wasn't aware of my past. So I'm uniquely situated and prepared to talk about this story, specifically that I grew up having asthma. I'm an attorney that's filed claims against a number of entities. And so I have two perspectives from this. As a person that suffered asthma, I've seen where the price increase for an inhaler can make you question, oh man, am I going to be able to breathe? Because when you're having an asthma attack, it feels like you're breathing through a straw.
Right.
And so if you've never been in that situation, you can't understand that. But the thing I have to make sure you're clear when you're looking at this complaint and looking at the images that we showed, those are called HFA inhalers. Those are rescue inhalers. His situation was a little bit different. He had something called a discus inhaler. That's not rescue. That's longer term. And I'm giving you all this because I can go to your answer for the question. It's pretty simple. He had 5 days when he attempted to get the inhaler, and then he got drastically worse. During that time, even if he received that inhaler wouldn't have saved his life because that inhaler helps you long term. You take it every day, 5 or 6 years later, you'll get drastically better. A rescue inhaler is, I'm in the middle of having a moment right now. I can't breathe. I need this to save my life. You see it in the pictures. Somebody takes 2 pumps of it. Okay, now they're better. That's not what he was attempting to get. So to your question, does the family have a claim? I'm not sure, because when you're looking at these types of claims, it's duty, breach, causation, and damages. Causation, was my incident, what's the thing that I did to you, the proximate cause of your death? Me failing to give you this inhaler 5 days ago doesn't mean that I was the proximate cause. If I would have given you an inhaler, but for that, you would not have died, because even if you had the inhaler, it wouldn't have saved him. At some point, also, if I'm defending these folks that are being sued, I'd say, wait, you have multiple times to go to an emergency room to get an actual rescue inhaler to save him. And then ultimately his roommates took him on the 5th day when he would have went. And so I think there are a number of problems with this lawsuit, because if they were saying they denied him a rescue inhaler, I think that may be an actual claim.
And I first want to be able to acknowledge, and I love your transparency with this story, but I also have to be able to say, though, what the family is suggesting is that the pharmacy should have suggested another alternative. And with the amount of drugs that a pharmacy gives out in a day, I just wonder, can they be held responsible of saying, hey, I don't know what your financial situation is, so I don't know what you can afford if you haven't given that information to me. And then I think that's where the gray line.
For sure. And I think the standard doesn't shift for them saying like, okay, I have to know everyone's individual situation. I don't think that's the case. But I think here, if it was rescue, I think they would have had a higher burden to at least, acknowledge that we have other options. I think their claim is problematic for that reason.
Yeah. Clive Rhodes, we appreciate your insight. Appreciate that.